Wow.
Are they a pain in the butt or are they cool? They're divine.
Pain in the butt. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I'm always scared they're gonna gang up on you. It's like, yeah. Uh-huh. Really?
Get the answer that they want.
The other thing I meant to...
I've already. They're good.
Yeah.
They're such a. They're got a lot of this last night too.
Oh yeah.
People that hadn't been here like it was amazing. God,
It was pretty fun last night, I thought.
really.
It says that I do. Okay. We're just gonna go. One thing. PK last night wasn't one thing. Well, if we end up with time, that'll be what it is.
Okay.
Here's the crossword I was working on. Totally.
Thursday.
Oh, it was Sundays. It was last Sunday.
I'm really good at Monday through Wednesday, and then I fall off. Yeah.
All right. Welcome, YouTubers. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, Bridget has it, right? Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm going to do my best at Thierry's party motivating, which is just please clap when I go like this. Perfect.
All right.
Stretch it out.
I was so fast, and all of a sudden I got caught up in traffic. Welcome to the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo Radio. It's Tom Douglas. I am joined at the mic while Terry is on hiatus. I'm joined at the mic by Loretta Douglas, our legal counsel.
Thanks
and
for
the
having
mother,
me back.
The mother of my lovely grandchildren. I can say lovely because they're only, they're all under 2.5.
Love.
Well, and you get to give them back.
Yeah, and I don't know what I would be saying if they were like 12
Yeah.
or 13.
I don't know what I'm going to be saying when they're 12 or 13 either.
Right now, they're lovely. Your son Hercules tends to get into a little romps once in a while. This last week he had a swollen eye. It was swollen so.
Yeah, he face planted into a pumpkin, which like only toddler injuries, right?
Yeah. Did the stem hit him in the face or the eyeball?
Yeah, he got one of those little stickers like embedded under his eye. Turns out
the whole thing swelled up and
sweetheart.
he looked like a pirate. I put a little pirate hat on him and took pictures to
It's gonna be his new costume.
torture him when he's 17. I said, "This is what you
Good
look
fodder.
Like." Yeah, exactly.
Prom fodder.
On today's show, we have a big celebration going on. We're here at the Hotel Andra, and it's National Seafood Month, so we've been hanging out with that for the last for October. And Ken is here, and we've got some friends of his that are going to cook some fish today, or just talk about fish, one or the other. I'm not exactly sure.
We're cooking fish. The pans are out.
Got a new segment today, Loretta. You are a master of kind of taking partially prepared food and then kind of making them into your own from scratch kind of dish.
I would
think
say
you
that's
learned
my
this from your mother.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite way to kind of weeknight cook is using some pre-prepared, some from scratch. So we're going to talk about what shortcuts I take, how you would make it from scratch, and
Right.
we'll just
So
compare notes.
your mom just loves to like doctor up a cup of noodles or some.
Totally.
That's where you kind of got that from. That's not me. If I'm going to make soup, I'm just going to make soup.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take a cup of soup that's like.
Sometimes I think the shortcuts really help take the intimidation factor out too, though. If
I don't feel like cooking, this makes it easier in your mind.
Yes, or I don't know how to cook Thai red curry. So here's how we're gonna start.
Coconut milk and curry paste.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be great for us home cooks.
Yeah, exactly. So we got that going on. Eric Tanaka is going to be here. You know, we're in the middle of over the last year, I'll say, trying to get our little Neb restaurant open, and it's in fits and starts depending on which team we can hire or what other restaurant project we have going on or something. But it's looking like November 15th or so for Neb, which is in the original Serious Pie space on Virginia between 3rd and
Ah.
4th.
It's looking so cute. I
It's-
can't wait.
Yeah, it's looking good. And so Eric's going to be here. And we're going to talk a little bit about if you've ever wanted to open a restaurant, we're going to talk a little bit about the process because especially when you have partners, Eric is our partner. You're one of my partners, but there's a lot of give and take that I'm not used to having because I used to do this with with Jackie and just do it the way I wanted
Yeah.
it done. And then if I was in the middle of the project and wanted something different, I would just change it. And it's
Yeah, now
more-
there's a whole committee.
yeah,
We
it's
have
not it's
to-
more difficult now. And I'm not sure what's better, but I'm sort of sure. But it's fun. It's fun going back and forth. Part 6 of our series with Grace Lynn is going to show up here called Chinese Menu, and she deals with the history, the myths, and the legends of all the different things we find on a Chinese menu, all the dishes, from tea to chopsticks.
I'm going to be
to-
so sad when this series is over because
She is
it's
so
been
awesome, yeah.
so phenomenal.
Matter of fact, she's so cool, and I like it so much that I was working on. You know, we do New Year's Eve here
Yeah.
every year here at the Hot Stove Society, and I'm working on a menu inspired by this book, Chinese Menu.
Awesome.
That'll be fun.
So it's more just about. It's not necessarily recipes. This book doesn't have recipes in that way, but the inspiration behind a rounded Chinese menu. And from my perspective, as a Caucasian chef who has always loved cooking Asian foods, not necessarily the way the Asians would do it, but the way I do it,
Mhm.
I think it's super fun to have that flexibility because there's so much restriction. Like you have to do it this way because that's just been done for 4,000 years that way, right? So that's one of the joys of being an American chef is that we tend to just do what we feel like doing. Chef Theo Martin from Island Soul in Columbia City is here to talk about his new sister restaurant, Arliana's, in Kirkland.
Can't wait.
Looking forward to that. And of course, we're going to finish the show with Rub with Love, Food for Thought, Tasty Trivia. Our producer today is Becky Guzak. Sean is our technical director. Sean DeTore back in the studio. And we're excited to get going. We have a contest going.
We do have some exciting news.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to announce the winner. Last week, we joined up with the James Beard Foundation, Taste of America Seattle, and the Hotel Andra for 2 VIP tickets to the walk around tasting event on November 1st at the Four Seasons and an overnight stay at the beautiful Hotel Andra.
That way you can just do your
Stumble back
sip
after
around.
your
Have your 30
tasting.
tastes. and-
Typically on these things, when you have a taste around, you have a sip around at the same time.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. It's almost sold out. So there are some tickets available,
Uh-huh.
but almost sold out. I want to first start with a big thank you to all the people the listeners who sent in your thoughtful stories. They're fun to read through. It was about your favorite local independent restaurants.
and we have a prize for them too, right?
We do.
What are you going to give them?
We're going to give them free tickets to this Hot Stove
Oh,
Society.
Perfect. Yeah. So
Radio
even if you
taping.
didn't win the big prize, you get a little prize because
Exactly.
Come
everyone
see
gets
us in studio.
everyone
Yes.
gets a trophy here at the Hot Stove.
Everyone's a winner.
Okay, so it was really hard to choose. We got a couple late ones in last night, but the exciting news is the winner is Jim M., who is also in the audience
Hey.
today.
Woo! Yay,
Yes.
Jim.
Yeah. So Jim told a story about he loves Bar del Corso on Beacon Hill. He shared a nice story and finished with, once you taste their escarole, radicchio, castelfranco, and shaved radish salad, you will never order a meal without including it. Congratulations, Jim.
Yay, Jim! Congratulations!
Thanks,
You're always
Jim.
such a
and
good.
that really was like pure coincidence. I
It
know
was.
people are going to think that was a setup, but
When-
the show sheet's been done for days before we got the head count for
Yep.
the audience. So
And that very same escaroles or
Yes.
radicchios that you were talking about, we have a thing that we try to do every year called the Sagra de Radicchio, which is a
Uh-huh.
celebration of all the different radicchios and escaroles
so
that are out
many.
there. It's the same family. And we are doing that this weekend at the Italian Intensive here at the Hot Stove,
fun.
which is also sold out. But the point is, They came in today. We were wrapping them in wet towels yesterday. They're so
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Just
And
gems right now.
Puntarella is a revelation. Puntarella.
I don't know
If
that
you
one.
see that in the grocery store somewhere, you have to go to a pretty fancy grocery store to find some of these radicchios. But
The
this
Ballard
is the
Farmers
time.
Market this past weekend had an insane selection.
Uh-huh. Well, there's literally hundreds of different varieties, and not many are grown commercially. The ones we're used to are the red radicchio,
Right?
the curly endive, escarole. We're kind of used to some of these, but some of the other ones just are pretty rare.
Yeah.
Pretty rare. So
Fun.
super fun. I get to MC that event this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. Get to work with my team all day long. All right.
They can't wait, I'm sure.
You bet they can't wait. We are wishing Terry well. He's on hiatus for a few months for his health, and hopefully he'll be back before the end of the year. Who knows? If not, however long it takes
However long
for
it
that
takes.
cheery,
Yes.
smiley dude to come rejoin us. Segment 2, Bristol Wave Seafoods. Brody is going to bring cod for us to cook, and I'm looking forward to that on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. Is that you? That's me. All right.
I mostly just come to do the show so I get breakfast.
I'm good, I think.
Behind you.
Yeah. Okay.
We sell a lot of this, but
Good. Keep doing it.
yeah, I'm sure that you sell a ton of it.
Mm-hmm. Hard to find something better than this. Pretty unique in the industry. I think we are the only ones producing a once frozen hook and line cod up in the Bering Sea.
But we'll save the good stuff for on there. Don't give up all your secrets yet.
Okay. When are we on air?
2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
In honor of Terry, we're going to do a bird noisette.
Mm.
Anyone know what a bird noisette is? Brown butter, way to go. You get a free spice rub from our gift shop after class.
Everyone's a winner.
Practically the Oprah show here.
Yes. And I've got the question in the show notes. Yeah.
I was very hungry.
Do you have those other
Last night I had
I didn't see
produce
that.
bag over my arm all night during class. So, I feel like an idiot.
How's this affecting your cooking?
Huh?
How's it affecting your cooking? I mean, good thing it wasn't
Well,
the
I'm
right
wearing my
hand.
slippers today instead of my shoes. I can't tie my shoes. So I'm sure I'm not OSHA approved. Cooking in a commercial kitchen. All right, what kind of rub should we put on our cod today?
Turkey.
The seafood rub? Taco. Taco rub.
Veggie would be good with the brown butter.
Veggie's my favorite. The little
Is
fennel
it?
in it. On everything. Love it.
The only thing I came up with was our Tokyo rub.
Mm.
Which wants to burn a little bit easy, so I cool down my cookie.
Mm.
I
What's
used
in it?
that for the first time in a while the other day.
Seaweed, sesame, mild chili.
Is it the seaweed that burns?
Well, it's a chili.
Ah,
Our rubs are meant to be more golden brown than they are.
How do you think Thierry would feel about Togarashi and Bird Noisette?
Well, I'm not making the bird noise. I did that last week, I believe. Oh, you mean the brown butter cookie?
Yeah.
I love it.
He'd love it.
Okay, we'll turn that on low then. All right, let's do this.
Oh, it smells good.
So I don't necessarily think people need to know about the Bristol Bay connection, or do you think I do? Because
I mean, our ownership is Bristol Bay, but
okay, so
but
maybe I
we're
will
in the
say that
Bering
then.
Sea.
The
We're
Native
not-
Corp, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
Native Corp.
We are back in the Hot Stove Kitchen on Cairo Radio. I'm Tom Douglas,
I'm Loretta Douglas.
and we are cooking in honor of Chef Terry. We're cooking our beautiful Alaska cod in beurre noisette. Why not, huh? And then also, he loves Japanese food, so we put our Tokyo rub on it from our Rub with Love product line, which has got seaweed and sesame and mild chilies.
I'm intrigued by the combo.
Yeah, it's going to be delicious.
It smells
You
good.
just wait.
Mhm.
In October of 2019, Bristol Bay Native Corp, which is an important business up there, it's been part of our relationship of trying to stop Pebble Mine, and they acquired controlling interest in a Clipper Seafoods and Blue North Fisheries, which is a boat. I think of it as a boat, that beautiful cod boat that is something that we've used for years down at our Seatown restaurant, the cod that comes from that boat.
Yeah.
So we've invited Brody Pearson here from Bristol Wave Seafoods to talk about this product, your process, and all the things fisheries during National Seafood Month.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mhm.
Yeah, now that we're combined, we've got about 7 longline vessels that we operate. We
Uh-huh.
own 9, but we're operating 7 right now. Everything is hook and line caught, long line, and we primarily just produce a headed, gutted cod and freeze it within 30 to 60 minutes of bringing it on
Wow.
Isn't
board.
that amazing? Yeah.
So fast.
So we're just preserving it right then and there, and then I'm mostly am selling to further processors that'll
Uh-huh.
do like they'll thaw it, fillet it out, and they'll distribute straight into the local markets wherever that is.
Uh-huh.
So that's at this point we're all across North America, Asia, Europe. Europe's a big buyer for us as well.
You must catch a lot of cod. That's because I know how much I use. I mean, we got involved with Blue North when it was just a single boat and it was a brand new boat. And what is that, 10, 12, 15 years ago? They were on the radio show, as a matter of fact, I think through Ken.
Yeah, it's probably been
Probably one
about
of
10,
these-
10 something years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a pristine product.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for things like a fish witch sandwich or fish and chips, or
Mhm.
it's just a lovely product. And one of the things that I love about it is that because it's frozen so perfectly, it's frozen in these little things that we call shatter packs.
Yep.
About a 15-pound box. And I can just take out, literally because of the way it's packed, I can just take out a fillet or two as much as I need.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at a time, and it becomes this fresh product constantly.
Yeah.
Out of your freezer.
Straight out of the freezer. We do about, I want to say we did about 22,000 tons of cod this year.
Wow.
So
How's that relative to the past?
quota's down a bit, it goes up. It's always going up and down 10, 20% every year. So yeah, we're nowhere where we were probably 5-6 years ago. But it's been pretty steady.
Uh-huh.
It's very sustainable.
Yeah.
It's a
fishery, so
well-managed fishery, yes.
very well managed. In fact, ours is kind of the model that started it for a lot of other fisheries around the globe. They kind of have pegged themselves to what we hold for our standards.
So Bristol Wave in particular, tell us about why that company is important, because you have to set a standard for the whole industry, right?
We do, and in this point between the merge, we own a majority of the quota within the longline sector. There's
Uh-huh.
still trawl caught and pot caught fisheries as well. But yeah, we're happy to kind of lead the pack.
Well, it's a responsibility too,
Yeah.
I think.
It
Yeah.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more? I'm maybe new to this, but I don't exactly know what longline fishing entails.
So it's kind of old fashioned and kind of not. It's our long lines are they could be about 1,000 hooks every say 3 feet, and they're on what we call they're on about a 1 foot long line off the main line, and we are baiting that with Pacific Sari or squid or things like that that'll stay on the hook. We'll lay out about a mile of line
A mile. of
Wow.
line.
with a buoy on either
It
end.
can go to 4 miles. I mean,
Wow.
depending on the boat. Yeah.
Crazy.
and then it's going very close to the bottom, which is where the cod are.
I bet.
And we'll lay out a whole line, and then we move on, lay out another, and usually do about 3. And then by then, the first one has soaked enough, and we haul it in. And so every fish is coming on, and we're unhooking them as we bring them on board.
And you just
Um,
kind of do a rotation then.
and
go
you
back
do a
and put the
rotation.
other- Wow.
Yeah.
And so you said 1,000 hooks. So how many do you get on a line? I mean, obviously you can get up to 1,000, but I imagine you don't get every.
I don't know what we get on a line.
Okay.
In a day, we are putting up about 1,000 cases, and those
Wow.
are 40-pound cases. So
Wow.
it's
40,000
about what we do
pounds.
in a day.
That's a lot of cod.
It is. This is all in the Bering Sea, very, very far up near the ice is where the best fish is. And
Isn't that
we're
for
there
a lot of
almost year
fishing?
round,
Isn't that a lot of fishing? The colder the water, the better, right?
Yeah. which is becoming harder and harder to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
Yes.
climate change
Yeah.
for sure.
Fish have
Uh,
to work harder, and then they're hired fat content.
It's depending on the species, it changes a lot what is happening. They might grow faster, they might, be stunted. That there has been trends, but yeah, as far as cod goes, it's a nice fatty fish in the first place. So
Super healthy.
When I was up fishing in Alaska, I could barely get my line down before the Alaska cod would jumping on the hooks.
Yeah.
I think we were going for halibut or salmon at the time, and basically we couldn't get there because the cod kept eating my bait.
they are very voracious eaters. They're
So's Tom.
Same.
You look at this body; it hasn't missed too many meals.
I bet, yeah. But yeah, no, they eat just about anything they can
Uh-huh.
find. They're scavengers. They tear crab apart.
Do they really? Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
Yeah.
The maybe that's why all the crab is missing. All the dang cod is eating
It's
the crab.
possible. That's one of the theories. I don't think
Uh-huh.
anybody's figured that out entirely yet, but yeah, it is possible.
Do you ever still love to just go up on a small boat and throw a line over the edge, or are you sick of fishing after a long season?
I don't fish, so for the company,
Oh,
I
I
handle
see.
our sales, so
I
I'm
see.
actually very happy to fish whenever I get a chance. Unfortunately, they usually send me up there in January, February, and I don't really feel like doing it then.
Hard to fish when you got it polar suits on, polar ice.
July,
cap
August,
suits.
different story. Sure.
Funny.
Yeah.
It's been such an amazing year here in the sound fishing that
Yeah.
the boats, we can see the boats out every day from our house, and it's just thick out there with fishermen right now.
Yeah.
Coho are running.
Lake
Yeah.
Washington too. The natives are out there. It's jumping all over. It's
Yeah,
pretty-
it's been
pretty good.
very, very optimistic to see a better change recently. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about where we can find your products in the marketplace.
So here, more locally, we're in more fancy grocery stores.
Uh-huh.
You will find us. It's going to be marketed as Blue North Cod.
It is.
We don't push that. I think the retailers and the restaurants that carry us too. I think they'd like to
We
Put that
love
on the
we love a
marquee.
good marketing
because
idea.
it's got
yeah.
a good story.
Need
yeah,
an identifier.
exactly.
So-
Yeah.
There's not really much cod out there that doesn't that has a name to it. So
Right.
and ours being a bit unique with this once frozen fillets that we do.
As a restaurateur, when I was buying the fish, the Blue North label was a sign of quality for me because we knew the story, and
Yeah.
and maybe the stories are true or not. I'm assuming they're true because they told me them themselves, the people that own the boat, where they, as soon as the fish comes on board, they shock it and get the process done so quickly that it's at the peak of freshness and flavor. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
The goal is to get it before the fish goes into rigor mortis.
Yeah.
And then you get the most tender flesh you can.
Uh-huh.
Then.
will we find your product in the fish case where everything's kind of lined up? This is cod, this is salmon, this is halibut, or is it in a pre-prepared portion pack?
Up to the retailer, but in most cases, I would say on ice in the normal display
In the
area.
normal display.
Yeah.
Because
You know.
sometimes you don't know the product; they don't put the sign out like they do.
They
in a-
don't sometimes, but and typically most cod that you would find in the stores is going to be probably twice frozen. It's very rare otherwise. So
Is
this
that
is
because it goes
very
to
unique.
Asia to get processed?
It's got to get cut somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, our boats are not that long, about 110 feet. There's only about 22 to 25 guys on board. So the mode of fishing, it's really about just preserving it in headed, gutted form,
Mhm.
sending it somewhere else in the world to actually get further cut up.
Processed.
Yep.
Okay. So today I've cooked it in brown butter with our Tokyo rub. Like I said, it's got seaweed, sesame, little orange zest, some mild chili flakes, and we're going to taste it all. Loretta, do you want to taste it before we run out of this segment?
Yes, please. Since I'm the skeptic.
Since why are you a skeptic? Oh, because of the brown butter mixed with the Japanese style. Well, yeah, you're just young and uninformed, I think. So it should be a little bit citrusy. It should have just
Yeah, it's
you know
delicious.
the mild chilies are really in place of salt, honestly. So anytime that you want to like lower your salt, I usually use Tabasco or a mild chili, and then you don't need nearly as much. It brightens in the same way.
Yeah, it's super bright. It's delicious, nice and firm.
Should we give some to our audience? What do you think?
Have they earned it?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here
Okay.
we go. Okay. Thanks to Brody Pearson from Bristol Wave Seafoods. We appreciate
Thank you.
you coming down.
Appreciate it.
And we will be coming right back here with Shortcut or Scratch.
Yes.
On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
That's great.
Salty.
Bridget,
for putting
can
up
you?
with me.
Yeah, that's great.
It tastes salty.
Why?
Bridget, can you portion this out? Sometimes the Blue Norton logo generally has a boat in it, a fishing boat in it.
I'm going to ask my fish people when I'm buying fish.
Yeah, Sean took a portion.
You just need to portion it for our guests if you want.
That's great. Let me get a picture of you and Tom.
No, we need to do a video. Okay. All right. Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. It's like I feel really good about it.
Been doing this long, Ken? Thanks.
Just entertain each other. Yeah. Yeah. So excited. Yeah. They don't know yet. It's like
I'll answer it.
I know, and I'm so thankful that there's a second.
Sean, are you ready
One,
for the
my
video?
mother is like, "That's it."
Okay.
But two, I think I would be so overwhelmed. But now I'm like, thank you. And he doesn't feel left out.
Getting parenting advice.
I love that. Okay.
Grab more tea. Need anything?
Nope. Are you you want to ask the question? You want Becky to ask it, or do you want me to just speak to it? Okay, okay. Yeah.
How do I cook fish?
Hey, everybody, are you ready, Sean? Hi, everybody, Tom Douglas. Everybody, Tom Douglas here. I often get asked how to cook. Got my blueberry muffin going. Hi, everybody, I'm Tom Douglas, and I often get asked, how do I cook fish on a grill or a barbecue? And the biggest thing I can tell you is indirect heat. So build your fire. Most people have a kettle barbecue or a gas grill. Build your fire to one side, and then what happens is you end up with an edge of heat. And as you cook your fish, you want to cook off the edge, either to the cooler side or slightly over into the higher heat. But that edge is where you're going to start to build a crust on your fish. Put it on the hot side of the fire, you're going to burn it before the fish is done. But if you work the edge and work to the cooler side of the fire, and then don't mess with it too much. Once you put it down, give it time to set a crust on the fish fillet, and then turn it over and put the lid on if you want, and you can just slow bake. 120 degrees in the middle is the key. It gives you a translucent center. If you like well done fish, you want to take it to 130, 140. But for me, 120, 125 in the center is key. Have fun. Uh-huh. Like it? Loretta said it's too salty.
The butters. Yeah.
She's hard to please, this one.
Well, it's funny because I have a very, very high salt palate. So when
I-
things taste salty for me, I feel like they must be really salty.
So you have some examples in your head?
I've been cooking with them a lot recently.
I'm talking examples here.
Yeah, so we're talking about those Omsom sauces that I got you for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been cooking with them a
Okay.
bunch. I was thinking like, I don't want to make it sound like a brand ad, but okay. Okay, for Charlie's. Is Alex here? Oh yeah.
All right. You like it? Good. The fish is so nice and clean too, isn't it? Yeah, it's just a.
I love the texture of cod. I feel like it's
Oh, it shows, Missy. It shows.
Smile, yeah. But I didn't either. I just saw it.
So, why do you think it's so juicy? You think it?
Yes.
That's one reason. Because an amazing guy cooked it was another reason. So the important part of, if you were watching what I did, I seared it to get my crust, right? And then I left my pan on the heat, turned it over, and turned off the heat. So that the residual heat of the burner and the pan finished warming the fish through, so it never got too dry, right? And so there should have been a little bit of translucency left in it. But that's the key, is to just turn off that heat and let that easy temp, just like I talked about on the heat line of the barbecue, just let that easy temp warm it through. Not because you can't stop the cooking. If you turn it over and continue to cook on high, if you pull it at 120, it's going to be 135 by the time it rests, because you can't stop it. That's why you stop it in the pan and let it warm through. Little, yeah.
but heavily. You always use more rub than I do.
Well, in a scenario like this, I'm trying to give somebody a taste of the rub. So. All right, here we go. Back in the Hot Stove Society kitchens on Cairo Radio. Lovely here at the beautiful Hotel Andra in downtown Seattle. We have a winner of last week's contest here in the audience. Jim is here, and he's going to be staying overnight as he retreats from the James Beard Award benefit down at the Four Seasons. And what is it, November 1st?
November 1st.
November 1st, yeah. So, Jim, I hope you have a good time. Loretta, this next segment is in honor of you.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah,
Finally.
let's get us. Why don't you get us started?
I keep getting all the chefy topics, and I'm like, okay, we got to bring this down
Yeah,
to
let's-
my home cook level.
That's awesome.
Let's get started. Go ahead. And I would say you're more than a home
I'm
cook.
a better
Yes.
than average
You've
home
grown
cook.
up in
Yes, I've
restaurants,
grown
yeah.
up cooking my whole life. So I consider myself a good cook. I have worked on the line in the restaurants before, so I do know some tips and tricks, but I am in a phase of life with 3 kids under 3 right now where my time for dinner is limited.
Mhm.
I'm the primary cook in our house, especially at dinner time, I would say. Because I enjoy it mostly more than anything.
I thought Chipotle was your primary cook.
Absolutely not. But my husband makes much better breakfast than I do, but I'm on lock for dinner. So I'm usually trying to get something done in the 30-minute range, which tends to always turn into 45, which is fine. Something that my toddler will eat. Though he's a good eater so far. We'll see. I'm sure it'll taper off now.
You used to be a good eater when you were that age too, and then by 5 or 6,
Yeah.
when you hit grade school, it was like all over.
Yeah, Rory really is entering his white bread phase, which I'm a little
Mhm.
nervous about, but we'll see. So I love trying new products in the grocery store. I love trying prepared products from both the freezer section, places like Trader Joe's, anything I can do to kind of give myself a head start into dinner cooking. And it's not something that you really do. So I thought it would be fun to talk about where I use the head start or the shortcut and how you might get there the same way from scratch.
Well, to be clear, I probably wouldn't get there the same way
Yeah.
as an end product. It probably is going to be different, but I love head starts. I made pot sticker stir fry many times for
Yeah.
your supper, and that's a head start of pot stickers already being wrapped and cooked, and I just put them in a pan and add veggies, and you got pot.
I make
sticker
it all the
stir fry.
time still. So
Do
it's
you
like
really?
a comfort meal
Yeah,
for me now
exactly.
that
So,
I grew
Ling
up
Ling
with
pot
it.
stickers from
Yeah,
Costco.
from
yeah.
Costco.
So take us down an individual path. Give me
Yeah,
an example of a meal.
I wanted to talk today about this brand called Omsom, and they make pre-packaged sauces, and they also just came out with a brand for a line of pre-packaged saucy noodles.
Are they paying you like $1 million to talk about this, or what's
yes,
the deal?
my spot on this show is worth $1 million.
And Loretta, how's that spelled? Is that the
OMSOM. It is woman owned, which I love. I actually discovered it. I probably got like a targeted Instagram ad for it, honestly, last year. And I bought you a whole sampler pack for Christmas because I was intrigued. They are all Asian sauces, but all different kinds. So they have like a Korean barbecue. They have a lemongrass Vietnamese base. There's a miso yuzu sauce, all different more Japanese styles, so all different kinds. And I've really kind of fallen in love with them recently, and I think I've used probably 4 of them in the last 2 weeks, which for me, I mean, that's a lot. I'm a big stir fry cook because it's an easy meal to put together, and for me, having this different flavor profile in a sauce has been super helpful in kind of switching up my normal stir fry flavors. So
And that's what I liked about them. They were assertive enough that you could really tell the difference between them.
yeah,
Several of the ones that you gave me for Christmas took my face off, which I wasn't expecting, because almost always it seems to me that on a lot of those kind of things that they're not as
Commercial
spicy
sauce,
as they
yeah.
make it seem like they're going to be.
totally. Yeah, the Krapow one is really hot.
Uh-huh.
the sisters? I looked into it after you told me about it. The Vietnamese Americans that came up with it, they tout it is loud Asian flavors.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what you felt.
Yeah, no,
I've tended,
I
you know,
thought it
there's
was good.
there's a little chili pepper ranking on them. I tend to get the more mild ones just because I am feeding a toddler also.
Mhm.
But my favorite one recently has been the yuzu miso glaze, and I've been doing it on salmon all summer. And it is kind of a familiar flavor to that miso black cod that you might get, that I know that you cook.
Mhm.
But it is so easy. You cook your piece of fish pretty much through, and then you just broil on the glaze at the end. And for me, it's a meal making ingredient. And that's one of the things that I look for is like something that is going to really bring everything together in what you're cooking. Otherwise, I think a lot of the shortcuts aren't super.
Yeah,
You know,
I think that kind of meal is
exciting.
prideful when you're putting it on for your family. You feel really good about it.
Yeah.
That you've put in, even if it's less than from scratch, it's still a really good effort and a really good product.
Yeah.
So
And
your
I
homework,
love a miso.
your homework was in the shopping,
Totally.
honestly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I love a miso marinated fish. And I plenty of times will put it on the day before and do it and bring it out the next day.
Mm.
But I often don't remember to do that in
So how do you
advance.
finish the plate then? So now here you've got this beautiful, we just had some Blue North cod. Got this beautiful cod. You got a miso glaze on it. What are you going to do to kind of bring it all together at the table?
So the other night we did salmon rice bowls. So I made a big pot of rice. I made a quick pickled cucumber, which is something you taught me growing up. We always had. I made a stir fried bok choy, red pepper, onion, which I used the.
Hercules loves red peppers.
He does, and I use the Tokyo rub on my veggies in there. And then I just served it with a side of the like toasted nori, and we kind of made little bites. In
That's
the
pretty
nori
impressive,
themselves.
mother
Yeah.
of three. I mean, that's
Isn't that sweet? Does he love making the little
Yeah,
bites out of the
little
seaweed
tacos.
wrap? The
That's
little
what he
tacos.
calls them. Cute. Yeah, but they're great. And my favorite one recently was the Vietnamese lemongrass sauce that they have because I love Vietnamese food. I will honestly say I've never cooked it at home before.
Mhm.
But I was really craving like the bun, which is the vermicelli noodle bowls that you can get at Vietnamese restaurants.
BUN, right?
BUN, yep. And I was having a big group of au pairs over for my au pair. And so I got a gigantic flank steak and I marinated it in this sauce that they serve or that they sell. And it was delicious. I just did it in a cast iron. It got really nice and crusty on the outside. And again, that flavor profile of that one sauce kind of dictated the whole rest of the meal for me. And I probably wouldn't have known how to achieve that flavor without the starter. You know, now that
Right.
I've looked at the ingredients and tasted through it and stuff like that, sure, I could find it. But for me, I got to make an entire meal around one kind of packaged sauce that I found.
Well, one of my favorite what do we call this segment? We
scratch.
Shortcut or scratch.
shortcut or scratch. And one of my favorite is the Chung Fun noodles.
Yeah.
That you can buy. They're the big wide rice noodles that are wrapped with green onions and they're steamed and they come in a long cylindrical pack and there are these little tubes essentially. And I love cutting those and we've had those for your breakfast for years, but with that very same spicy sauce
Mhm.
where you put these noodles, you cut them up into maybe 2-inch sections, saute them in peanut oil until they're nice and crispy on the outside. And then you just pour that super spicy sauce over top. That is
Delicious.
dynamic.
Yeah.
And you can do that with the little Korean rice cakes too.
Oh yeah.
That you
okay.
just,
I love
they
it.
look like
You know I
little
love a
mini
rice
footballs.
cake.
Yeah, I love the
I
rice
do
cakes
too.
because it's the texture, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So to me, that's one of those dishes that I've cooked your entire life. Not necessarily the spicy version, but
How would you get to kind of that Vietnamese lemongrass flank steak without the starter?
well, without the starter, you have to go to a store that has fresh lemongrass, obviously, and oftentimes you'll find it, and it doesn't sell very much, so it's got a brown outside, and you're reluctant to buy it because it looks like it's old.
Yeah.
And it is, but just peel that outer layer of the grass off, and you'll see a bright kind of lemon lime color. Well, it's not even that bright. More of
That pale yellowy green.
pale
kind
yellowy
of-
green
yeah.
kind of color on the inside, and then the very inside it's got beautiful scarlet striping in it. And just put it in a mortar and pestle and pound the heck
Okay.
out of it.
That was what I didn't know really how to use an actual stalk of lemon.
It's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to beat it.
Okay.
I mean, literally take your meat hammer and beat it,
Okay.
and then either put it in your stock that you're reducing down to make your sauce, and then strain it out,
Okay.
or you could put it in a blender and try and
But
emulsify it.
you can't really eat it. Just
It's not really. It's
Okay.
very kind of woody, stalky, and the stuff that you can buy dried, I would say
Don't
10
bother.
times out of 11 it's no good. There's
Okay.
nothing left to it. There's no fragrance left. There's no lemongrass
Mhm.
left to it, right? It's just this dull, chalky.
Yeah, I mean the
woody-
whole point is brightness, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
not getting
So
it from
that's
that.
kind of where
okay.
I would just start to build that sauce. And I don't love reducing down soy sauce very much, so I would maybe go with a stock or something.
Okay.
Add soy sauce to it towards the end.
Because it gets too salty? Or
It's just hard to control.
okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
hard to
Okay.
control. So good
Yeah.
on you for making your kids and your family something that is a taste moment that they're going to remember the rest of their lives.
The rest of
Aw.
their lives. Yeah, my Tuesday dinner.
Yeah, well, and also I know that Hercules does like to come in the kitchen with you and watch
Yeah.
what you're doing sometimes too. So. Next up, Charlie's Cultivating Fresh. Charlie's Produce is here in the house with Alex Chan. He has very little qualification to be on this show, but we're going to try and draw out some interesting tidbits from him. He's our good pal on Cairo Radio, Hot Stove Society Show 97.3 FM.
Hi, Alex. Good. How are you?
Having us.
Oh, thanks.
No, never done a show.
No, I don't know how to get
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, adios.
Okay.
Sean, see if you can bring that up and show it to our audience. I just did. It's the couch with bottle holders.
Oh my God.
Did you buy that at IKEA?
No,
What Sean said.
like a specialty product.
Ordered it months ago. It just came in.
I'm sorry, Brittany. I should have introduced you.
All good.
You're Brittany.
Yeah.
I didn't put it together.
Good.
You will now.
Well, it's the wrong last name.
It is. You're not wrong.
How was your life?
It's great.
You have a couple of kids too, right?
Just one,
Just one.
just one. But
And you have doting grandparents.
I have doting grandparents,
Oh.
and I have a niece and a nephew, and work and all that good stuff.
So this is Charlie's daughter, Brittany. I didn't put two and two together, so
and my best friend Alex.
who you stole from us.
Hey, Ben. You just
I
put it in the
did
office.
no
Get
such
it,
thing.
get it out now.
We're all very happy for him. He loves his job.
Good. Better say it that way.
Alex, pull that mic right up close to you. I want your sexy NPR voice.
How about this?
Oh,
boy.
I got chills. Woo! Look at that. That's hard to handle right there.
You're so glad you came back for this.
Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Do you need your box?
I
Bring
don't
some
think
samples.
We've met.
You are Charlie's third child.
I'm the baby.
You're the baby.
Baby.
This is my baby too.
I gave them
We
the
should have a
first
meeting
grand-
of the daughters.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, I benefited the only child. It's the only grandchildren, but
I'm
The
the, only
first-
girl,
the first
so
still,
I feel
yeah.
like I'm like the only child. Kind
Yeah.
Don't tell my brother that.
So I don't know if I don't think you've met Tygan.
I think Tygan is the only one I have met.
You have met
Yeah.
Tygan, and then the other one's from Charlie's first marriage, right?
Robbie.
Robbie. That's right.
Which there's a brother in California, right? That's working in the California.
He's actually in Spokane now.
Spokane.
Spokane. You guys have anything to do with Spokane produce?
I mean, we
I
have
see their
a
trucks all the time
we have a
on the
produce
highway.
company in Spokane.
Right.
But no.
But you know the company I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I see their trucks coming by our farm in Prosser quite a bit. Whereas your trucks generally are on 90.
Yep.
They're coming around the bend there. Bridget, what are we doing on breakfast? Are we getting it out there?
Hungry, Bridget.
I'm not hungry, so you can give it to Brittany and Alex. Did you make one for them? Good. Give it to Brittany and Alex.
I'm fine.
I don't know why you're so mean.
You guys hungry?
It's got your
Alex is.
chard on there.
Brittany,
Your
you can
potatoes
do
and
that
your
if you
onions.
need to pull it forward.
Looks amazing.
Little chorizo.
And yeah, you want to be right in it.
Weird.
Everybody wants to just hear you chew. you
Yeah.
know?
My eyeballs.
Mexican chorizo is generally served as fresh meat, whereas Spanish chorizo is cured. Yeah. You guys check this out.
Oh, look at them.
Look at this. They have couch with bottle holders on the dinner table.
It's
video
gourmet.
There's dinner. There's the baby.
They didn't make anything like that when I
Yeah.
my child.
Isn't that crazy?
My little
Is
girl.
that custom built?
10.
Tina, and this is Adonis.
I got a Rory in on the air. Did you hear that?
I did hear that on company property too. All right, you ready? All good. You want me to direct to him, or are you guys going to do equals? Let's do equals.
Figure it out.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
figure it out. Okay. Take these twins off my visible here. Distracted.
They're so cute.
We're back in the kitchen here at the Hot Stove Society on Cairo. We've got breakfast coming out right now. Brigitte, we don't call her Bridget, call her Brigitte, has made a Spanish tortilla, some ruby chard with our fish taco spice, which is delicious, and some chorizo sausages for our guest here today.
All the more reason to come in and join us in
Exactly.
studio.
We are cultivating fresh here with Charlie's Produce. I have Alex Chan and Brittany Andrews. Brittany, I didn't recognize right away. I'm sorry. I think I even catered your wedding. Is that right?
You did. So
Yeah,
did
and I didn't
Alex.
even I didn't even recognize you. Brittany is Charlie's daughter. You should have kept your first name.
Charlie.
Exactly. Alex, you used to work with us for years and years, and you've moved around with COVID as we had to disperse our team. You know, we had over 900 people that got moved out of our company when COVID happened, and you were one of them. And we miss you terribly. And you bopped around for a minute, but then Charlie snapped you up.
Yeah.
And we are very sad
And
about
now we
that.
get to see you all the time still.
Yeah, we're sad about it, but we're happy for you. It's been a good marriage, it seems like.
Well, for me, it's always homecoming when I come by and
Yeah.
see my old comrades and
Yeah.
check out all the restaurants and say hello. But yeah, no, Charlie's been great. It had a big learning experience for me. But you know, I love talking to chefs. I love working with produce. So it's been great.
Yeah, and they must love the fact that you can come in and talk chef because you were a chef for so many years. You can talk to them in their language, and that's an awesome thing to have as a sales lead for Charlie.
Yeah, no, I mean, the chefs loves it. I mean, you know, to have somebody to understand like why they need certain things and what they're going to do and what we can recommend for them. It's been a huge winning points for me as a sales rep. And, you know, you just have that instant connection.
Right, and then you can talk to the buyers at Charlie's. Over this period that we've had Charlie's on every week, we've had many buyers on, and I would imagine you can give them insight of like what's the hot new ingredient and what should you be looking for out there in the marketplace.
Yeah. And I mean, our team of buyers are amazing. I mean, they work continuously around the clock to just source locally and sustainable products. you know, they're just always at the tip of the iron, just looking for what's great. They take a lot of really good feedback from us. You know, we're always looking for, you know, specialty items that chefs are looking for. And, you know, we try our best. And
Yeah.
when we find it, it's very rewarding.
And as long as I've known Charlie's, they've always tried to support local farming, you know, with the different places around our state that produce unique items. Charlie's always first one there.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you know, I personally just took a tour over at Mount Adams Fruit and just seen the first harvest of the pears and apples down there in Bingen, Washington, and that was amazing. I mean, our buyer was there with us, and we really just took a tour of the orchards. I was able to taste, you know, just picked Honeycrisp apples. I mean, crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's going to beat that. But that's what we're all about. We always try to look for, you know, in-season products. And certainly, you know, my time is working for you, Tom, you know, that really drove home with me.
Yeah, we're always trying to support local and support seasonal. You're not supposed to be eating asparagus in November. Just a reminder. I know you guys sell it, but I look for places, the restaurants when I go to them that have Brussels sprouts at this point. And you're not supposed to serve Brussels sprouts in July either. So anyway, Brittany, tell us about you. I've kind of grown up with you over the years. Your dad was my produce supplier forever and has been and still is. You can follow his trucks right to our restaurants. They're your trucks now. Are you part owner?
Well, our whole company is.
That's
part
right.
owner.
You're an ESOP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I feel like being at Charlie's because of that, there's a sense of family there.
Mhm.
You know, we're a team. And it's great to work with people like Alex and have them a part of our family.
Mm-hmm. And an ESOP is an employee stock option plan. And Charlie did that long ago. I don't know, 25 years ago, maybe?
Probably 25,
Yeah.
20.
And it's
25.
really great because all these people that I've grown up with at Charlie's are now getting to the age where they have a real retirement plan, and that many people don't have, which is, I think, awesome.
Yeah, we have so many employees, 10-year employees, 20-year employees. There's someone that works in the warehouse that I've known since I was a little girl, and it's awesome to say hi every day.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you do at Charlie's?
I'm food service sales rep.
So what does that mean?
I'm just like Alex.
Just like Alex?
Just have a book of restaurants that I take care of. And one thing that I like to tell people about our food service sales team is we're not a sales team. We work on cultivating partnerships with our customers and try and provide them with a service rather than just sell them an item.
I mean, it's super important, Loretta. I don't know
Yeah.
if you think about it the way I do, but because what you guys give, like Merlino's does our dry goods, right? You guys do our produce and things of that nature. But that is a daily, all day process that we use your product, we cook with it all day long. And so it's important to have a good relationship with people that understand what we're doing.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And having somebody like Alex on our team where it's a chef that has worked with the product, when we get something new in, we can bounce ideas off of him and take that back to our book of business and say, hey, you know, squash right now, here's a couple things you can do with it,
Right.
and you should be buying it.
You know what we're seeing out there, and I see it in grocery stores every day, but we're seeing it in our restaurants where Charlie's has a fresh program, like fresh romaine, fresh sliced onions, you know, things that help us get some work out of the way where it's hard to find labor right now. And you guys have a huge team.
For sure. Well, I think Charlie himself back in the 80s with Ray's Boathouse was one of the first people that did a cut romaine. And now that's like a normal item across the nation. So we definitely try and hear what our customers are saying and what their needs are. And we actually have been working on a state-of-the-art facility that we're doing grilled and roasted chicken out of, high quality. So more to come on that.
Really? I don't know much about
Interesting.
that, but I'm anxious to hear. There's a bunch of you. There's 13 of you out there selling to restaurants around. You're in Alaska, all the state of Washington, right? Where else do you sell?
Boise, Salt Lake City. We do have a LA branch. Where else?
Portland.
Oh yeah, Portland. Washington has two. We have Spokane and Seattle, so two separate
Right.
DCs.
So there's 13 of you just in the kind of Western Washington
In
area.
Seattle,
Okay,
yeah.
in Seattle. Interesting. How do you divvy it up? Do you get to like draw straws on what groups you get to take, or?
Well, we kind of, when you are new, you inherit a book of business, and we always try to, look at which strength, lies with each rep, right? And everybody works a little differently. So for me, I get the pleasure of working with the Tom Douglas crew just because of my work history. But every one of us, just kind of manage through the day. We get in, we see what's going on. We have our morning meetings where we discuss up and new coming products. So for example, today at our meeting, we talked about, these new, they're called dewdrop cabbage that are just arrived. And it's a variety of arrowhead cabbage. I had a chef that actually asked me about this a while back, and I'll probably swing by today and drop off a sample. But, each of us kind of, have our own book of business that have different needs. So when we're covering for each other, we have to meet up and just kind of chew it out and be like, okay, what's going on here? What's my priority for
Yeah,
you?
that's awesome.
Okay, Alex, I'm going to put you on the spot. We only have a minute. You brought a bunch of squash here, and when people see these in the grocery stores, half the time they don't know if they're just decorative squash or if they're edible and delicious. Difference being edible and delicious. So you've got acorns. You've got, I'm not, is that a Kubota? What is that?
This one right
Is
here?
that a heirloom pumpkin? What is that?
This is a curry squash.
A curry squash.
Yep.
So what should people buy when they see what's your inside scoop on
Tip.
what
What's the hot
people-
tip on what to buy?
Well, a lot of times when you see these in the store, it's very daunting, right? You don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Am I making a soup with this? Am I cutting up and roasting it? And that's really what we do as a sales rep, is to educate our customers. So for instance, the curry squash, they got its name is from the Japanese word curry, is in chestnut. It's got a lot of that flavor. That's a great squash for making soups with. Whereas you have the carnivore squash down there that looks like a giant delicata. You can cut that up and serve it, roast it with the skin on, and it's completely edible.
Really?
So
Delish.
Love that. Brittany, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And it's great to see you again. And I'm glad that you aren't here to get divorced, since
Me too.
I catered your wedding. We've had that happen in our restaurants where people have gotten married with us and then they had divorce parties with us.
Yeah, I'm not getting a divorce.
I didn't want to put my foot in my mouth there. So, all
You're good.
right, we got another full hour here. Eric Tanaka and I are going to talk about opening a new restaurant on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. I did that little, I don't know.
Do I keep going? Do I stop?
It's
Bring
like,
it back.
I didn't know you were pregnant. It's like, it's that kind of combo.
Yeah, no, not my husband works for us. Not getting divorced. It'd be very bad.
that was amazing.
It was like,
He's gonna love that.
oh my God.
We didn't do the like coming up in the next hour. Does that matter?
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. I'll do that at the lead in of.
Okay. Okay. I love a tray bake. Oh yeah.
So Brittany, that's a Spanish tortilla
Okay.
with brown onions and potatoes and a little bit of egg. And that's
Cut it with your knife.
something you find in every tapas bar in Spain. So. All right, because you bought a ticket today, you get to take home a squash with you today. So at the end of the show, feel free to take whichever one you'd like. I'm assuming you don't want them back.
Awkward.
Awkward. Another
Alex is like,
another hip
actually.
shot.
I miss you, Tom.
Oh no. That's right, exactly.
Did you take the bus? Is that going to be okay?
No, I'm okay.
How are your babies?
They're great.
Are they
Yeah.
great?
Yeah, they're great.
They're
Just
big
finished
now.
school, so, yeah, 9 and 5.
Ugh.
9 and 5.
Yeah, Junior just started kindergarten, so he's Doing good.
Crazy.
He likes to do homework, so we'll see how that lasts.
Loretta was always a good student.
Oh man, Loretta's great.
That's why we invite Alex back.
Yeah, I remember when Loretta was probably what, 8, 7 at by the Seattle, helping
Working
us
the
out,
counter, yeah.
running around.
God, Vita Seattle used to be. I used to think that I made more money in that week than because got paid like under the table. I guess I'm the company's lawyer. It's probably fine.
Yeah. Not to mention child labor laws.
She was learning.
It was a different time.
The good news at 8, you can give them $5 or $10 and they still think they're rich.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was.
It's
I just
true.
was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all of this money that I made?
But $10 doesn't even buy you Starbucks.
No.
That's what my
That's the
kid
threshold
wants,
now. Is
Starbucks.
can I buy Starbucks?
Kind of have to up the ante. I don't, but she does. It's
I do.
all the rage.
Even drip coffee now is $4 or
Yeah,
$5. Yeah.
Starbucks right now is my like one daily outing that makes sure that I get out of the house with the twins.
What's McDonald's money? I mean, you say your kids got McDonald's money. I don't got that anymore. I mean, you can't leave without spending at least $15.
Yeah.
Well, you should talk to Charlie about that. Not my problem anymore. All right.
Okay.
No, I think we can. I have that meeting.
Oh, I want a hug. I can't believe that I didn't recognize you right off the bat.
No, I can't together. Which is amazing. And you don't. That's why I do a lot of cooking. Onions are okay. Sometimes I usually use onions. I do use shallots and onions. It works out at home. It's just tough at a restaurant because of all the crap they do. You see, like there's many people that when they there's something. And I not do that.
Very interesting. You never know who's going to freak out on the mic. Becky, can you take a picture for us? You're in the middle.
Middle. The boys.
Thank you, man.
Oh. I've been enjoying it. One game I enjoyed.
Alex.
The rest of the
Alex.
No Photoshop needed.
I've never done that.
I don't.
I've never done it.
Yeah, my friend that we travel with, he makes us look a lot better, and I'm like, don't do that. It's not real.
That is the rough part of following
So,
the team. Like part of it.
Arleonis is coming up in a few. I didn't know he's got a whole line of spices. I asked him, do I talk about it? I think we have. So it's a full.
see how it flows. Depends on how good they are.
I love those. I figured it would
Not good.
do a version of it, but it was nowhere near like that. Well, I was like, next time. Well, yeah.
Okay, Eric, let's take a seat. Sean, will you make sure that microphone is right up to his face? Huh?
No.
Yeah.
Knock off.
Do you want to take a break or something?
I didn't know if I just wanted some boy time.
We get enough boy time.
We are back in the Hot Stove Kitchen on Cairo Radio. My name is Tom Douglas.
I'm Loretta Douglas.
Loretta is sitting in for Chef Terry, who's on, we'll say vacation. He's on
Yes.
hiatus, sabbatical, whatever you want to call it, for a few months. And so we're going to have some guest hosts for a while. We wish him the best of health. We have another full hour, as I talked to you about. Eric Tanaka, my partner, is going to join us, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it takes to open a new restaurant with multiple partners.
That's a change.
Many cooks in the
Many
proverbial
cooks
kitchen.
in the kitchen. Yeah, it
So
is a
easy.
change.
Yeah.
In a funny way. Part 6. I've never done this before. We've had so many parts to a series, but I was so enamored with Grace Lin and her new book, Chinese Menu, that I made 7 parts out of it, and today is part 6. If you, when you listen in, you'll understand about her passion and her
Energy. It's
deliciousness. Yeah.
infectious.
Mhm. Chef Theo Martin from the Island Soul restaurant in Columbia City is here to talk about his new sister restaurant, Arliana's in Kirkland. And of course, we're going to play Food for Thought Tasty Trivia, brought to you by Rub with Love. And looking forward to
Going down.
kicking the butt of my daughter. Why not, huh?
We shall see.
We shall see. Are you like Pam, where you kind of rig the questions, the easy ones for and then the hard ones for me?
Come on, Becky.
Not necessarily. I get them wrong sometimes.
Because I might just jump and go first, and that could just really
Ooh.
could really mess things up. Okay, Tanaka, welcome to the mic.
Thank you.
You and I and Loretta and Sean, as an ownership group, have been putting our money where our mouth is when it comes to our new little restaurant called Neb. It's been on the books now for a year, and we've just struggled to get it finished, get it to opening day. And now we actually have one. We're excited about that. I think November 15th. Is that right?
16th.
November 16th.
You like to change it up on Tom.
Yeah. Exactly.
They hope he doesn't show up on opening
I know,
night at this
I
point,
know.
I think.
Like, I know it's a month away. Don't worry about it.
Well, I just went to opening night of Serious Pie Ballard.
Yeah.
In Ballard, where it was to go only for the last since COVID, right? We finally added 30 indoor seats, and I went to opening night, and it was so exciting. You forget sometimes how fun it is to open a restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's how you ended up with like 22 previously, right? The opening
the
part
years,
is the
yeah.
most fun part,
Yeah.
for sure.
I always say that opening day is the saddest day for me because all those little decisions like the china, the silverware, what kind of wine glass, building a wine list, tasting the menu and everything is kind of all done. And
Yeah.
now you're into reproduction and consistency.
As
day in and day
reproduction
out.
goes, it's like making a baby versus raising a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I have 5 kids. So.
Yeah. You know all about reproduction. So this is, I think, your first one as a real owner. Like you
Yeah.
and I are partners, but I'm talking about having the lead ownership role of having the final say on most things, all that that goes with opening a restaurant. Tell us about your most fun part of doing it, other than working with me on it.
Yeah. I mean, enough said
But
right there.
yeah, but
Mic
tell
drop,
us
it's
about
over.
how you're feeling about it and what the process, what you love about the process.
I think it is the collaboration. I think, we've opened 20 something restaurants together. So it's the back and forth, and it's the kind of dueling and
Mhm.
putting out ideas out there and the banter like that.
I like that
is fun.
ET says that collaboration is the fun part, and you've been lamenting that you have to collaborate.
Yeah.
Well,
this is
I
why
mean-
you're good business partners.
Yeah, I mean, as far as being linear, we are certainly not the most linear bunch, and hence why we change dates and this and that. But I think that's the exciting part as well, like to be able to put stuff out there on the table and discuss it, why or why not, and what pertinence does it have to the
Mhm.
marketplace, and there's just all those conversations that it's fun to think through. It's fun to challenge each other about.
I think it's something people don't really think about a lot. There's some of the technical issues, and I could use our steak dish that we're putting in. Our menu is I think our tagline is antipasto, Negroni bar, and vino. Right? It's kind of like
I think we're still fighting over that.
we're still fighting over that.
We'll
But-
find out.
But so in our menu tastings, we've had the steak thing going on. That we feel like we want to have an entree-ish kind of dish on the menu, not just appetizers, which is where the argument is between antipasto and cafe, or however you want to
Yeah.
describe it. But we also have to live with the fact that we have 40 seats or so, one oven. We have
Oh.
one wood-fired oven, so the menu has to work within that wood-fired oven. All the dishes, assuming that, let's say, 35 of those 40 seats are full at one time. You got to plan for the best case scenario, right? So
Yeah.
that could be a party of 12 in the party room. It could be a party of 24 in the whole restaurant. So we were working on the steak dish, and it just wasn't. We were loving the food, but it wasn't like I can't get the process right. How are we going to put out this steak at medium rare in the middle of a rush on a Friday night with one chef and one oven and 30 people in the restaurant? And so it's part of what you have to think about is like,
Yeah.
what dish, how does that dish come to be then?
And I think that's the fun part, to think it through, because there's the romantic and creative part of putting the menu together. And I think then there's the more tactile piece of actually like, okay, now we have to actually cook this and get it out in a certain
Hot.
amount of time and have it be at its peak when you're serving it. So it's a lot of like reverse engineering. And I think that's been the process that we've been going through on the steak. We're on our like 5th or 6th version now of
Mhm.
what it is and what it should be and how it should eat. So, but it is the fun part of being able to work through a menu.
What other thing comes up that way that on the top of your mind that is important to think about before you open the doors?
I think actually just straight concept, and sometimes we name it after because we're just like talking about what's delicious. But I think, starting from a base, and I look at, Neb as a Nebbiolo based restaurant that's, wine centric. And it took a while for me to get there. But that's where I'm at. And I think Tom's actually in a different space. So
Well, Nebbiolo is my favorite grape,
Yeah.
right? I love it's the grape of Barbaresco and Barolo, and I've been collecting them for years, and they age beautifully. I have 50 and 60-year-old bottles of Nebbiolo, and Neb Head is my online name for some of the wine clubs that I belong to, and so that's where the word Neb came from.
yeah, and that's certainly our overlap because I worked in Barolo for a year. So I mean, I'm a huge fan as well. So I
Yeah.
think there's a base love there. It's just, the creative piece of where it, moves out from that love together.
With one pizza oven.
Yeah. With one.
Well, with one wood-fired oven, yeah,
Wood-fired oven,
exactly.
yeah.
So
And then that's the thrilling part because it's easy to have everything in the kitchen. But, once again, to conceptualize around an oven, it's the fun part.
I do think that's more fun sometimes than when you're opening a brand new space and you're like, okay, we can put everything in here. But here it's no, this is what we have. How do we put out something?
And
Right.
you don't need
Incredible,
everything to
yeah.
put out amazing food. Like if you're thinking about it correctly, it's like you use what you have.
we got to a delicious spot on the steak, just to finish that conversation yesterday, but it was just a little acrid. The steak was because we went to a short rib and smoked it first and then heated it with roasted shallots and some olive oil and butter in the oven, the wood-fired oven, so that it's not a medium rare. It's a well done
Mhm.
not braised, but a well done roasted piece of meat. but then it was a little bit acrid yesterday, and it turned out that our chef had used applewood instead of hickory or
my.
mesquite. And so when you do a long smoke with applewood, it gets bitter, right? Because
Yeah.
it's so sappy. And so we have to go back and fix that again, So it's funny how one problem presents the different issue. And
But when you hit that spot, you're like, oh, that's delicious.
now here we
Then,
go. Here we go. So next week when we talk about this, let's talk a little bit about service models and how many cooks do you need? Do you need a dishwasher prep? Do you need a prep cook? Because labor in our industry these days is all about making a restaurant successful or not successful.
Totally.
Because labor is over 50% of our expense. So that's something to think about when you're designing a restaurant and a menu. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society show. Up next, I don't know.
Graceland.
Up next, Grace Lynn is going to join us from Chinese Menu on Cairo. Up next, Grace Lynn is going to join us with Chinese Menu, her new book. Sean DeTore, I hope you understood what I just did there. So.
That's great. So next week, we're going to do a weekly segment.
Well, if he can do it next week, that's fine. If not, we'll just push him off to the
Okay.
next week.
Sounds great. And for
Louis? Oh, okay.
Oh, perfect. Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Good. I want this right now.
Gents, do you you have time to wait till the next segment, or do you want to go first? Are you in a hurry at all? Oh, okay, good. We'll go in order then. Thank you. Ready, Sean? We are back in the house here at the Hot Stove Kitchens. Thank you for that meager applause, Jim. Thank you so much. Becky, as you know, Grace Lynn was my guest here a few weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago now, and I recorded 7 segments from her new book, Chinese Menu: The History, Myths, and Legends of the actual Chinese menu. Where did it all come from? Where did chopsticks come from, for God's sake? So it's been a joy to chat with her all during that time. And here is segment number 6 as we move on.
awesome.
Hi. We are back in the Hot Stove Kitchen on Cairo Radio. It's the Tom Douglas and Grace Lynn show. We've been chatting with Grace over the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks or so, and talking about her new book, Chinese Menu: The History, Myths, and Legends Behind Your Favorite Foods. And Grace, we've covered so many interesting topics, from dumplings to noodles to tea service to appetizers. But let's talk about the big table. The big table and we go into Chinese restaurants sometimes and you see the Lazy Susan in the middle of the table, and you kind of think immediately, well, that's an American invention. They don't really have those in China and blah, blah, blah. But it's not true, is it?
No, they use it all the time in China. Though it is an American invention. It's called the Lazy Susan because of the myth. This might not be true, but the myth of the Lazy Susan, it was that
Hey, it's a myth, Lynn. It doesn't matter if it's true. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
That's true, because Thomas Edison is supposed to be the one who invented the Lazy Susan for his daughter Susan, because she was so lazy to get stuff off the table. So that's why he invented it. But it's such a perfect thing for Chinese cuisine, because Chinese cuisine is meant to be eaten family style and shared that way. So what a perfect thing. I feel like once they saw it, they all were quick to jump on it.
So let's talk about that, because, when you go to a Chinese restaurant with a group of friends and everyone kind of wants their own thing, but at the same time, it's really kind of intended to be shared. You're not supposed to eat the entire plate of beef and broccoli, right? You're supposed to pass it around, have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. What is a balanced Chinese dinner menu? Like, what would you consider if you're going to a Chinese restaurant and you're going to order
with your friends and they say, oh, Grace, you order because you know all about Chinese food. What are you going to order for a party of 4?
Oh, well, that's really, when you say balanced versus going to, so when we go to eat at a Chinese restaurant, that's not when we're going to eat balanced. That's when we're going to eat to celebrate, right? And so we're going
So
to
is that
order.
still the case? Like
That's
going
how
out for
I
dinner is a
feel.
celebration? Yeah.
Celebration. So like what would be a balanced meal is probably what my mother would make when I was growing up, where it was a soup, three like a vegetable, like 2 vegetable dishes and like a side, like in a little meat dish. And then we got a bowl of rice. And then you had your bowl of rice and you took a little bit of the vegetable and you ate it with your rice. You took a little bit of the meat, you ate it with your rice and you drank your soup. So that's probably the traditional balanced Chinese meal. But when you go to a Chinese restaurant, it just usually is a celebration. You're going to order a lot of food because the idea of Chinese food is like, especially at Lunar New Year, it symbolizes how you'll be for the whole year. So if you have leftovers on Lunar New Year, it's for the whole year. It's a sign of plenty. It's a sign of generosity to have more than enough food. If there's not enough food, if there's like no food left, it's almost I wouldn't say shameful, but like there's a feeling of like, oh, I wasn't generous enough if you were the host. So that's a very different thing, eating at a restaurant versus like eating at home with your family.
Yeah, it's so funny how we have these things in our head. Like in America, we think if the plate is empty, that you loved it. In Japan, if the plate is empty, they feel sometimes like they haven't served you enough food.
Exactly.
It's so funny how we put all these little feelings into our eating habits. Tell us about, in your book, you talk about eating with your ears.
Yes.
So tell us about that. And I don't think you're really talking about sizzling rice soup. You're talking about other things.
Yeah, well, this goes all the way back. Actually, I think this goes all the way back to our conversation about chopsticks, maybe, because in ancient Chinese culture, they really considered dining as something that was a way to cultivate a person's spirit, a way to cultivate a person's personality, right? So they wanted every part of the dining experience to be beautiful, from the way they plated the food to the taste of the food, the way the food smelled, and also what the food was named. And so when you heard the name of the dish, it would automatically put you in a poetic or artistic or refined state. So they would name their foods with these very poetic, names with a lot of imagery in it to help set the mood, I guess, and help you eat with your ears. For example, tofu was often called white jade, or bean sprouts is often called dragon whiskers. So you can see, like, already they're conjuring up these images to you so that when you eat, you can think of these beautiful things.
So when I think about dinner, I don't often think about Buddha jumping over the wall. So like, where does the dish like that come? I mean, Buddha is very symbolic. He looks a lot like me, as a matter of fact. And so tell us about that dish.
So this dish, when they talk about Buddha jumped over the wall, they're actually talking about Buddhist monks, because the story of this dish is that a group of scholars were sitting around next to a Buddhist temple, and they were talking and they were cooking this amazing meal. And they were letting it stew, like the stew. They were letting it stew all day. And then they finally opened up the stew pot, and it had such a beautiful, amazing aroma that all the Buddhist monks smelled it, even though they were supposed to be meditating. And they all jumped over the wall to see what smelled so good. Smell. And so that's why the dish is called Buddha Jumped Over the Wall, because it's so delicious that it made Buddhist monks jump over the wall to see what it was.
That is funny. That is funny stuff. There are dishes like that, especially when I get out my bamboo steamer and I'm steaming beautiful wild king salmon here from the Northwest with ginger and garlic, and just lifting that lid, just even the vanillins from the bamboo steamer, just the odorous aroma. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah. Last time we were talking about the lotus leafed rice. That I feel like that is an aroma that really calls to me.
It's an aroma, and it's also a real what's the word I want? You see the little package and it's like Christmas morning. You can't wait to open it. My daughter and I would take our chopsticks and just fight each other to the death for the lup chong in the middle of the.
Oh, it's the
the
anticipation, right?
Yeah, the Norma guy, exactly. So much fun stuff. Mapo tofu, we only have a minute, but that seems to have captured the attention of many Americans, Mapo tofu. Is there a quick story behind that?
Sure. I mean, mapo tofu is actually called pockmarked grandmother's tofu because basically it was invented by it was invented by an older woman who they called grandma who had pocked skin due to having smallpox when she was younger. And there's a beautiful story behind that because at first she was kind of ostracized for her pockmarked skin, but her food was so delicious, it allowed them to see her, allowed people to see her for the real wonderful person she was.
And then my last question is beef and broccoli. It's so ubiquitous. Is that a Chinese dish or is it an American hybrid?
It is an American hybrid, I guess, because there really is beef and broccoli in China. But the thing is that broccoli in China is very different than broccoli here in the United States. So when the Chinese chefs came here, they had to use the broccoli that was here, which is actually Italian. So it's a hybrid. They use the same recipe, but with Italian broccoli.
I use Gailon, just so you know, I'm a purebred. We've been talking with Grace Lin. Her book is called Chinese Menu. We've been discovering over the last few weeks the history, myths, and legends behind your favorite Chinese foods. And next week, we're going to wrap up with the history, myth, and legend of dessert in a Chinese restaurant. Is there such a thing? Would you... Almond cookies, fortune cookies, are fresh oranges a sign of wealth? There's so much good stuff to come next week on the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Love her.
Yeah.
You're so awesome. I know. You just watch her eyes. She's just thinking. It's like watching a toddler, as they think things through. It's like Chinese Menu. She has many books, and this one she did all the illustrations in also.
Just talk. Yeah.
Where am I? Okay. What's my good side? Other side. You'll never find.
Wow.
Yeah.
Taking over for Terry.
I'm top.
Yes, you are. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
I would
Truly
like
blessed.
to eat this right now.
I went to Catholic school. I'm not so blessed. Sister Mary Richards still has a chunk of my hair in her hand.
Well, I know my mom sometimes called me a Sadventist, and I was raised an Adventist. Yeah, so for some of my habits, I picked up later on.
Yeah. I told Loretta long ago that religion is the basis of all evil based on my experience in grade school. So she went and got a comparative religion degree at college.
I like to be contrarian.
There you go. Just to help Dad a little.
You like Theo?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless I'm in trouble.
And what's it?
Theodore.
Yeah, exactly. Or Teddy.
How long has Island Soul been open? I feel like it's
Well, 2003, but then we opened up in Columbia City in 2007,
7. Okay.
a couple days
As
ago.
long as I can remember going to Columbia City, it's been there. So.
Oh yeah, we snuck in and had a chance to invest and buy the building.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
That's a good investment.
Oh yeah. So,
We were trying to help Trey Lamont do that, but he's struggled to find the right spot, I think.
yes. Yep. Yeah, he was there for a hot minute as well.
Yeah.
He worked
Does
at
he have
Island
his second
Soul.
place
Oh, did he?
open now?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He opened a place up on 23rd and Union.
I have not been there yet.
I haven't either,
Yeah.
but Ben has because Kurt and Trey do a lot of stuff
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arleana, right?
Arlena's.
Arlena.
Arlene.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, it's.
I've only been there 4 times. And I read the story about your mom. And
Oh, blessing.
Yeah,
Yes.
Arlena's.
Arlena's.
Thank
Yeah.
you for Clarify.
Lula, Arlena, Martin. Arlena. But Arlena is the restaurant with the plural, the
Okay.
S.
All right, here we go. We have almost 11 minutes, so it's a nice,
All right.
long
Wonderful.
segment. So,
Great.
welcome back. We're here in the Hot Stove Kitchen. Loretta Douglas has joined me today in
Thank
in,
you.
in honor of our pal Chef Terry. He's taking a break, and we have Theo Martin here. He has Island Soul Restaurant in Columbia City,
Yes, sir.
and also opening a new spot called Arlena's in Kirkland.
Yes.
And it's open already, right?
It's open 5 months, almost 6 months into it.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Woo.
It's
Woo.
wonderful.
And you've
How's
been
it
there,
feel
Becky?
I've
splitting
been
your
there.
time?
It's busy. We start 1 in the morning and 1 at night.
Yeah, it's game changing having
yes.
I've been there 4 times, I believe, and just had to pop in. And he was so dynamic. The food was delicious. I can tell you about what I've enjoyed the
Yeah,
most.
go for it.
Oh, I love the oxtail, the curry goat. There's mussels. And I also had, because you can't get goat very many places.
No.
And the gumbo we love. And
Yeah.
when we've gone in groups of 4 to 6, and we share everything.
Uh-huh.
And I just love getting all those tastes. And then at the end of the meal, this charming chef comes out and welcomes everybody to the restaurant. And so I said, I've got to talk to that guy and see if
Yeah.
he'll come on our show.
There you
No,
go.
right on.
And it's in Kirkland's in a big area. So
Yes, it
I have a
is.
restaurant in literally Kirkland, but it's in Totem Lake
Oh.
because it's considered part of Kirkland.
Yeah.
So where's
I'm right on
Arlena's.
85th or Central Avenue, heading towards downtown. I'm on 3rd and 85th, or 3rd
Okay.
and Central.
right?
Right
Where-
across
Beautiful
from the
new
park.
space. It's a
Didn't there
new
used to be
building.
like an a crab restaurant there?
Yep.
Yeah,
Torn, torn down and
tore down.
rebuilt.
Yeah, it's just a
Okay.
brand new building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're one of the first tenants up in there. Bartow Drugs, Five Stone Coffee, and Arlena's Restaurant.
Wow, you can
There you go.
get a little.
And Island Soul is just right in central,
We're
in Columbia City,
in Columbia
like right
City,
on
yes.
the main drag.
Right
if
on the
you
main
haven't been.
drag. Oh
So-
yeah, right on Rainier.
So tell us about your food inspirations and
Yes.
how you got to be where you're opening restaurants and how much love you have for this business, which I love dearly myself. So
Yes, yes. Well, my father had the restaurant actually in the central area, started in the 70s. And it was just called Judkins Barbecue. I worked at Nordstrom's at the time and said I would never work with my dad because he made us work all the time in the restaurant.
funny how that is.
It's funny how that is. And my parents, both of them were self-employed, and I said they was truly hard workers. My father had a grocery store, a restaurant, and a construction company.
Wow.
Mom had a daycare, Feed the Homeless program. She was a nurse and a beautician.
Wow.
So, and then they were foster parents. I'm one of the foster kids.
Really?
So they had 15 kids in their program, and
Huh.
I'm one of the kids. And it was a blessing to be part of the family, of course, because I grew up allergic to everything,
Mhm.
and I mean everything from dairy to flour to grass to trees
Uh-huh.
and to every animal in between. And when my mother saw my chart at Children's Orthopedic Hospital, she noticed every time I would come to the hospital, she would always be the one caring for me. And then one day, she noticed I was a foster child and I was in foster care.
Uh-huh.
And in foster care, I would bounce from house to house.
Boy,
Um,
hard
I-
with all those issues.
Hard with all those issues because the first thing everyone wants to give you is peanut butter and fish sticks.
Mhm.
I'm allergic to peanut butter. I'm allergic to fish
Mhm.
sticks.
Mhm.
I'm allergic to fish.
Yeah.
And nuts. And I was constantly in the hospital
Mhm.
because this is what they kept feeding me.
And
And
they didn't know better, right?
no, they didn't
Yeah.
know better. And even though they was, he has a tight diet, be careful. He's allergic to everything, but
Mhm.
they're going to give you milk. They're going to give
Yeah.
you the things that they feed all the rest of the kids. And when my mom, I called her my mom, obviously. When my mom saw the chart, she knew what the problem was my diet.
Mhm.
And they were feeding me the wrong food because I was always in there for the same thing.
Mhm.
And next thing I know, I was at a home, Mrs. Kruger's house, and
Freddie's mom. I love
Freddie,
Freddie.
right. I know. I was just saying, Mrs. When that movie came out, I was like, oh, that's not the one I live with. But I ended up coming to the Martin's house when I never interviewed. I see on TV like you interview who your parents going to be.
Mhm.
It didn't happen.
Mhm.
But I come to the Martin's house. Here's a daycare, on 22nd and Spruce, which is still there today. We still have the property today. And there was a bunch of kids there. So I get out of a van with a bag in my hand, which was a pillowcase full of what I own. And I get off the bus or the van, and here's a bunch of kids running up, and they're like pointing at me like, this is our new brother. Now, I'm thinking, oh, there's another foster place they're going to put me in for a short time. And then all of a sudden I see the nurse comes down. Okay, I'm getting emotional on this.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah.
What is it with moms? My mom, when she had 8 children and she finally got rid of 3 and she started taking in neighbors' babies to babysit. So it's like,
Yes.
some moms are just moms.
Some moms are just mom. And
Yeah.
this mom was the mom. Like I said, the community called her Mommy Martin.
Yeah.
She did this for everything. When I said she had a daycare, she started her daycare for the Black community of women that didn't have any daycare. So she would take the kids in while they go to work at night. And she mostly did it for nursing because a lot of the nurses worked at night.
Yeah.
So she would care for the kids. So there was always kids everywhere. So she converted a apartment building that the downstairs, both sides was turned into the daycare where she kept the kids. And then upstairs, all the girls, and the basement was all of us boys.
And then how did your father get started in the restaurant business then?
Well, he was always it worked, Todd Shipyard, and then
okay.
he started doing some side cooking, barbecue for the guys or the people at work, I should say. And eventually, his barbecue became everyone was like, "You make some amazing food." He kept bringing it, and then eventually opened up Judkins Barbecue. And the restaurant just kept growing. He kept adding more soulful dishes to it.
Right.
Then he had.
So is he American Black or is he Caribbean?
He's American Black.
He's American
He
Black.
is
So that's a
American
different
Black.
kind of cooking.
It's a whole
Yeah.
different kind of cooking.
Yeah.
From matter of fact, from Louisiana. Yeah. So he would start. We say throwing down the soul.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all of us kids, part of our job was to go down and be part of the help.
Of course it was.
Yep, free labor, free labor.
Loretta doesn't know anything about that.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all about that. Yeah.
And then Theo, what got you to Kirkland?
Well, Kirkland, I went to school in Kirkland. So, part of our being a Seventh-day Adventist, one of our schools was in Kirkland on 108th. It was called Kirkland Seventh-day Adventist School. So all the kids in our household, in the daycare, in my parents' home, we all went to Kirkland Seventh-day Adventist School, part of church school. And so we would go, I went there from first grade all the way till they went up, at the time they went up to 8th grade, and fell in love with Kirkland, of course, because that was my first love, is because I was at a household that I could wake up every morning in a house, in a bedroom, and it was, my brothers and everything, or my almost one of the brothers, and just fell in love with Kirkland. And years later, I would come down to visit friends who I've been knowing since first grade. This was actually about 10 years ago. I got a phone call off Facebook of someone that says, "Hey, I moved back to my parents' home. Scott Graham. We start talking, and next thing we know, we're golfing together, and then we're talking about the love of Kirkland, and you should open your restaurant here. Your Island Soul should come here and be in this area. There's no restaurants like this on the east side."
Agreed.
And he goes, "You would do well over here," and that's how it first started. So we came and visit. Was going to go up there to the Google campus, saw this building being built down the street. I didn't want to be, I shouldn't say I didn't want to be with the group of, but it was like, I saw this building going up, and it was like, your heart, you drive
that
past
feels
and
right,
goes,
yeah.
that feels right. Every time you drove past that building, you're like, I need to be there. And we went down and ended up meeting the owner. And he just said, "Hey, I want you." We took him to Island Soul. He ate the food and says, "Whatever it takes to get you in this building, we want you in this building."
That's nice.
And that's how we got the
Okay,
building.
before we run out of time, give us a few items on the Arlena's menu that you think are can't miss items when you come
Woo,
visit.
well, I heard it a little bit earlier. Our gumbo,
Mm-hmm.
our oxtail, our curry goat, and blackened salmon.
The blackened salmon.
Yeah,
That's got a Louisiana spice on it.
Louisiana spice on it. It's the rub. It's the love.
Mhm.
And I say, once you eat that, you should close your eyes and we could charge you rent.
And a favorite dessert?
Do
you eat dessert? Because Grace Lynn, the Chinese, they don't eat much dessert.
Oh no, I eat beignets every day.
Okay.
And
I want to eat beignets every
oh
day.
yeah, and the plantain Foster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then our bread pudding.
Okay.
with the rum soaked raisins.
You have everyone in the audience here salivating,
Oh, yeah.
including me. So
Just eat
Well-
the raisins by themselves.
Yeah.
And
Well-
the bar space is beautiful too.
The
I want to
bar-
just, when I don't go with a group, I just want to go with a friend and sit at the bar.
We put
It's
a lot
beautiful.
of love. This is a gorgeous restaurant. I
Yeah.
mean, it's gorgeous.
can't wait
I'm
to
looking
go.
forward to getting out there.
Yeah.
We can take the twins.
Yeah, you gonna take me?
Bring their sofa with bottle holders. Sure, why not? So yeah, I'm looking forward to having the gumbo. I love a good gumbo, but I just don't find very good gumbo. It
No.
seems to me it tends to be like the leftover dish, and when it's fresh, I think it's lovely. Let's make sure you come back on so we can talk about your spice line. You and I share that passion. We
Yes.
both have a line of spices, some hot sauce, and then let's do that soon on Cairo Radio. It's been Theo Martin from Arliana's, the new restaurant in Kirkland,
All right. Thank you.
97.3 FM.
Do you want to redo that?
It goes
That's
fast.
literally our longest set that we have is 10 minutes and 45 seconds.
Wow. I couldn't even talk about my chef in the back.
That's why
I got
I
a new
said-
chef in the house.
That's why I said when we come back or next time, because we should do it soon. Becky will make sure you get on soon and we can.
I know we need more time.
And you know, it's a pretty good business, isn't it?
It's pretty good business.
Yeah. No, in a funny way, it's a very heartfelt business, and a lot of people just say, you know, I think they look down on the restaurant business in some ways, that it's hard and it's nights and it's weekends and all that, but it's very fulfilling business because you
It
share
is
a
all
lot
those
of
things,
energy
but
with
it's
people,
also-
right?
yeah.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
Sure.
do.
Ton of-
And the day goes fast.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it's different every day.
And it's different every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chef, will you come back on with us and talk about the food itself a little bit more?
Yes, yes.
You want to, should we put a segment in the can while they're here? And then what time is it? Do we have time? You guys have time to watch one extra segment? Okay, let's do that. Why don't we do that?
He's came aboard.
So you're going to
Monday.
sit, you're going to sit there. And
Oh,
then,
Monday. Wow, you're
Yeah, he's-
new.
He's new.
No, let him take your mic. And then if you have a question, you come to my mic. Let's just put one in the can for next week and then,
So this will be like we
Or it's
did
probably the
not
week
just have
after
the
next.
conversation that we
It'll be
had
brand
because
new.
it won't air with the same
Okay.
show. So we'll intro again.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's
what's your name?
Rolando.
Rolando, you have to step right up to that mic. Give us your sexy NPR voice.
Rolando.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to do this real quick.
You want to do dishes and spices?
We'll see what, huh? Let's do the 850. And it'll probably not be next week. It'll be the week after.
okay. Cool.
We're back here in the Hot Stove Kitchen on Cairo Radio. We started the conversation a couple of weeks ago with Chef Theo Martin of Arlena's in Kirkland, a new restaurant that's a sister restaurant of Island Soul. Is that correct?
Well, father, mother.
Father, mother. I love that. Father, mother restaurant. We look at our siblings like that all the time in our restaurants. We had the Grand Dame, which was Dahlia Lounge, which kind of spawned all the other restaurants.
I
And so-
always said that I
That's
was an only
cool.
child, but I had many restaurant siblings because it felt like
That's the
That's
voice
cool.
of Loretta Douglas, our daughter and legal counsel at our company now. And we're inviting Rolando on to the mic from Arlena's. I get that mixed up sometimes. And
Good to be here.
good to be here. You're just starting with the company, huh?
Yeah, I just started Monday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk. Last time we got caught up in your life story, which brought tears to everyone's eyes of happiness. I will say that's, turning lemons into lemonade is
Yes.
always a good thing.
Yes.
Becky's been to your restaurant quite a few times already. I plan on getting there soon. But let's talk about some of the food and how it's made and what kind of love goes into it, and ingredients, things like that. So Let's talk about gumbo. Last week we focused a little bit that that's a dish that you have to have when you go to Arlena's. How do you make it? What makes it so special?
Well, right now, what we love about it is just the slowness. Gumbo. I have been lots of places like you, and gumbos can be thrown together, and they call it gumbo. Gumbo is something that when you take every part of it and you roast it, you know, every vegetable, it goes into the oven. When it comes down to the chicken stock, you know, the bones, you throw it in the oven and you roast everything. I have been in where I see everyone just throw it in a pot and just boil it until it's done. I have learned to get the flavor, it takes time.
Yeah.
Also, what makes a good gumbo is the roux. You know, someone taught me to use the word, think of peanut butter when you're making the roux. It's not just flour, oil, and water. You know, it's the way it's stirred. It's the way it's a little extra seasoning here and there, because we do not want to use filet, or not filet, but gumbo.
The filet gumbo.
Gumbo. Yeah. That's for, I would say that's for rookies. I shouldn't say that, but you know, but you don't want to use that. Your roux is the base that's going to make that a nice creamy.
You know who taught me how to make roux? Chef Paul Prudhomme.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a buddy of mine. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At K Paul's down in
Yes,
New Orleans.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Woo. So okay, well, we got to talk roux talk. But yeah, but
well, you said peanut butter, which is a brown roux, which is different than a blackened roux, and which is
Correct.
different than a blonde roux.
Yes, it is.
But a lot of Americans don't know those differences.
No. And there's, like I said, each roux is a whole different game for what you're making for it. And some, even a gravy, you know, just how you want your color to look. But that roux that goes in there, but what makes, to me, after you have that, everything roasted, you know, and then you get into having your roux set, and the okra is the main base of a good gumbo. I use half a pan of okra, you know, and then we put all of our fresh vegetables in there after it's all done, and then we add some chicken stock and we just let it simmer, or first we sweat it, and then we pour some liquid in it and just let it just slowly get that okra to kind of break up and dissolve.
Right.
And it makes its own sauce right there.
Right.
And
It's a little bit of a thickener.
it's a little bit of
slime
thickener.
that you get in okra is a
yeah.
little bit of a thickener.
Got me hungry. And then we just let it kind of keep going. And then by then, now we're starting to take, we love, oh boy, Roberto. We love the hot links. We got some chicken andouille sausage that we have as well. And we start putting everything in and basically bringing the water up, you know, or the stock up, and just let it sit there and simmer. All the cool things about the different sausage, when we use two different sauces, it starts releasing a lot of its flavors as well into it. We have our own seasoning that we put together that we also put into it from our Cajun seasoning, of course, and our own seasoning that we put in there, and just let it kind of sit there for a good 20 minutes on slow, and just let it just keep doing its thing.
What thickness should it be? I mean, should it be like creme anglaise, or what would somebody, you know,
Coat the back of your spoon. Kind
yeah,
of
how thick should gumbo? Because sometimes you find it's more like a stew than a soup. And is it? What do you think? More stew-like or more soup-like?
I like more stew-like.
Okay.
You know, to me, it's gotta, you know, you gotta eat it with rice.
Right.
You know, and
just plain Uncle Ben's.
Well, we use
down in New Orleans. You see a lot of Uncle Ben's.
we use Thai rice. And my son loves the basmati rice. You know, so we kind of go back and forth. I got to go in the kitchen sometimes, see what's on the floor there. You know, but the rice, you know, it's just got to stick to the rice and coat it right over. But I definitely say I really enjoy more of a. It's definitely not a soup. It's more of a stew. It's definitely a thicker. So when you put it in your mouth, it's all over.
It's full of flavor.
It's full of flavors. You know.
Rolando, tell us about what you've learned so far. You're brand new to the company, is that right?
I'm brand new. I just started Monday. So
what background of cooking do you bring to the table?
I've been a lot of background. I have an Asian background, French, Italian, pretty much Mediterranean background also. So I'm all over. And what I'm bringing to the table is level up what Arlena's is right now. So.
And so, what do you love most that you've tried so far? Because this is new, a little bit new to you, right?
The gumbo is really good. I really love the goat curry. That's why you guys need to stop by there. And the oxtail. And you just pull out of the bone, and it's just like a lot of savory flavor and stuff. So.
And tell us about the curry. Is it, when we think of curry, we tend to think of that kind of Japanese or Indian SMB curry, the yellow curry is this, but curry can be whatever you want it to be, right?
Mhm.
So tell us about the curry a little bit.
What we use right now is the yellow curry, and then we infuse it with coconut. That's what makes it. And what we're doing as of now, we mix it with jackfruit, and that
Oh.
enchants a lot of flavor. So
That's fun. Jackfruit is very fragrant, sometimes too fragrant.
too fragrant.
Yeah. Kind of soak it a little.
Not
to
a
get
good
Yeah.
smelling. Well, we have the spice rubs in front of us. It looks like you have a curry rub.
These are just spices, though, more than a
spices,
rub, I
not a
think.
rub.
Yeah.
Correct. More
Is this what
spices.
you use in your curry goat?
Yes, what we did was make it. My son put that together. He was always, you sometimes we kind of go left and go right, and you want to stay right down the center when you're been in business for so long. You want everything to taste the same all the time. So my son got into, Dad, I want to make my own seasoning, and he got into making his own season. We call him Buddha, Chef Buddha, and so he came out with his Buddha seasoning. And yeah, it has everything in it. I mean, if you want to take some prawns, you want to take a piece of chicken, you want to take any food, you just honestly sprinkle it on there, and it's seasoned, it's ready to go. So it's a very nice, as we say, compliment to your meals.
And where can people
ask us.
find them?
Right now, we sell it just in-house.
Just in-house.
Just
Awesome.
come to the
So
restaurant.
you have to visit the restaurant.
Gotta visit the
have
restaurant.
dinner,
That's
and then
right,
bring
that's
in the
right.
flavors
Life could be
home.
worse.
That's right.
Yeah.
Same thing with the hot sauce. Yeah.
Well,
Awesome.
it's so fun. I'm going to get over there, and I can't wait to try out the entire menu. I love
Yes.
just ordering everything. That's my favorite.
We
part.
love when you do that.
We'll have,
We'll
yeah,
do that.
we'll have Becky come give us a tutorial. So
Yes.
we can eat dinner there together. And up next, I'm not sure what it is. So we are going to,
Yep.
Up
We're-
next, more Hot Stove Society Radio on Cairo. It's 97.3 FM. All right.
Yeah, I know he's gonna see me.
Did you do it? Say first.
Trivia. I could try.
It's fun.
I listen to the show all the time. Half of the time, I'm like, dang.
You guys are great.
All
I
right.
never know the answer.
Have a seat. You two can take us on.
You want to?
No, you have to move over to that one this time. Whoever answers, though, needs to answer into the mic.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, you're good.
Just push the mic up a little bit so you don't have to bend over there.
Maybe.
There we go. All right. And watch how this works, and then you'll know what's coming your way. We're back in the Hot Stove Society kitchens, Hotel Andra, downtown Seattle, 4th and Virginia. It's a pleasure to be here with Becky Guzak. She's our producer at this point in time, and happy to have her filling in for Pam Hinckley, who went on to save the world over at the Pike Place Senior Center and Food Bank. So we love her, and we love what she's doing.
Big shoes to fill.
Big shoes. Okay, Becky, tell us how to play the game. And I forgot that I'm supposed to tell you that. Food for Thought Tasty Trivia is brought to you by Rub with Love Spice Rubs, ready to help you celebrate National Seafood Month with our wide variety of versatile blends and sauces. From the November 1st, from the #1 selling salmon rub in the world to our zesty triple garlic teriyaki, we have you covered. Stop by and pick up some at your local seafood market like Wild Salmon Seafood at Fisherman's Terminal, Gemini Fish in Issaquah, and Cleellum or Fresh Fish in North Ballard. Okay, Becky, tell us how to play this game.
Well, we've got 3 contestants, and each of you will get 5 questions, and the one who gets the most is the winner. And we've got some special guests that are going to stay with us. We've got Theo and Orlando from Island Soul and
Arlena.
Lena's in Kirkland. So excited to have you.
Every time I've been on the show recently, I've been up against a team of 2, and I just want to say it doesn't feel fair that they have 2 brains.
You're an attorney.
We
There's
have
no whining.
Tom, and
There's
I'm
no
just
whining.
here.
Do you recall your high scores though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
don't
let's start
know.
with we'll start with Loretta so you can see how it goes. All right, Loretta. What is the ingredient in the Italian liqueur Sambuca that gives it that strong licorice flavor?
Anise.
You got it. Good job. Which one of these recent food in the news headlines is true?
Oh,
Parisians named that kale-infused ice cream will be the official dessert of the 2024 Summer Olympics.
gross.
Or is it a new study reveals that bacon is a vegetable?
I
Or
wish.
is it 33 years after the FDA banned the use of red dye number 3 in red lipstick and other cosmetics linked to cancer, California has become the first state to ban the chemical in food?
That last one is true.
That is true. That's a recent
It's
news.
been banned in Europe for a while, but
I saw
we're
a sign
finally
the other day
catching
up on. I saw a sign on 45th the other day. It says, "I'm trying to grow my own food, but I can't find any bacon seeds."
That's cute. All right, number 3. What is the main ingredient in the traditional Greek moussaka?
Eggplant.
You got it. See, you're killing it.
Oh my God! Oh, I can't do this. I can't do this.
This one might be a little trickier. I don't know. Can you please describe to us what a cartouche is?
A cartouche, like Sesame Street.
Cute. It's
I don't know.
it's a parchment. It's a lid made using parchment paper to cover a saute pan.
Interesting.
It's perfect
What
when
do
you
you
want
cook
to
with it?
poaching, simmering, like fruit. Have you ever used a cartouche?
Rolando,
Sean?
did you
I've
know
used
that
them,
one?
but yeah,
You just use a
I
lid.
didn't know the name. Yeah.
Yeah. The theory is, unlike a metal lid, which can absorb heat and slow down the cooking and create uneven paths of condensation.
Interesting.
Yeah. Final question.
Okay.
What is the name of the mushroom that has a honeycomb-like structure on its cap?
Morel.
Yes. Good
Wow,
job.
4 out of 5. Good job.
All right.
Nice work.
Boy. I'm glad some of our efforts didn't go wasted.
College tuition. Theo and Rolando, you ready? Which seafood dish is named after the French word for stew and features a tomato-based broth with various types of seafood? Yes.
Tomato bees.
Get right into there.
Tomato bees.
No, it's
Huh?
actually bouillabaisse.
Bouillabaisse.
Yeah, bouillabaisse. Thank you. Okay. Is pawpaw, spelled P-A-W, a Hungarian pepper used to make sweet paprika, a plant-based dog food, or America's largest edible native fruit?
Oh yeah, we like that one.
Number 3.
Number 3, you got it. Okay. Question number 3, multiple choice. What is the most commonly stolen food in the world? Is it bread, cheese, or chocolate?
Cheese.
That is-
Bread.
It's actually cheese.
It's a grilled cheese sandwich.
It's a grilled cheese sandwich. We'll take that. According to data reported by the Huffington Post, gathered from over 250,000 retail outlets across 43 countries, cheese trumps fresh meat, chocolate, alcohol, seafood, and infant formula, all of which are made most stolen list. I thought that was interesting. Please name the number 4. Please name the Italian dessert that is made from layers of coffee-soaked ladyfingers and mascarpone cheese.
Tiramisu.
You got it. Good job.
Nice job, Orlando. That was like boom.
Easy. Not let that go. Your final question, what cuisine features dishes like bibimbap, bulgogi, and kimchi?
Korean.
Yes, good job. So we're at
Tie, right?
tie.
4
4
for
out of 5.
5.
We got a tie. We have a tie off. So Tom, we'll see. We'll see what's
Oh,
going to
we'll
happen.
see, won't we?
see.
They're so anxious for me to lose. It's not very inspiring.
Aw. What is the name of the thin Japanese-style omelet often used in sushi rolls?
Tamago.
Tamagoyaki, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Which vegetable, sometimes called nature's toothbrush due to its fibrous texture? I'll give you a hint.
Celery.
You got it. You cringed when Terry suggested that we peel our celery.
I know.
'Cause that was written for you. Good job. What traditional French dish was the inspiration for the Vietnamese soup pho?
Well, I would have to go with another Terry favorite, which is pot de fou.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Pho originated in the late 1880s after the French colonized Vietnam. True or false, the rare Japanese mushroom named poison fire coral sounds deadly, but it's actually highly prized for its unique flavor and is considered a delicacy.
And it's called, in Japan, it's called Japanese fire quail, or that's what we
Coral.
call it.
That's what we call it, but it's a Japanese.
So it's coral would suggest that it's a little bit orange.
Is it a delicacy or deadly?
Oh, it's a delicacy.
It's deadly, highly
Oh.
fatal.
Oh, you're
Okay.
out.
I'm
you're,
dead.
You're dead in the forest.
Final question.
That's what I wish that I had when I put my finger through the wood chopper the other day out in my farm. And I wish I had one of those mushrooms to take me out of my misery.
Oh.
And it's not that my finger hurt that much. It was my anger at myself for doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
One split second.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh, was that a pun? It was my wood splitter that took me out.
Wow, I'm impressed with myself. Final question. Which root vegetable is often used to make sweet pie during Thanksgiving in the U.S.?
Root vegetable?
Root vegetable.
Oh,
You're listening.
ooh, I almost said
Uh-huh.
the
P word.
above ground vegetable. A root vegetable at Christmas,
Thanksgiving.
at Thanksgiving.
Come on.
It's got to be yams, I would think, or a sweet potato.
potato, you got
but
it.
I've never made sweet potato pie at Thanksgiving.
Wow. Okay, so we have a tie-off. So I'm going to ask each one of you either I'm going to do a joke. So you have to come up with a pun.
You have to do a slap because we don't have
Okay.
time for the whole thing.
Loretta, or actually, we'll do it that way. Great. What did the skeleton go to the barbecue for? To get another
Rib
rib.
bones.
You got it. To get another rib. You got it.
There we go.
So Tom is
All
the winner.
right. Love that. Thank you.
That is a bad joke right up my father's alley.
Thank you for playing. If you want to be part of the show, you can join the community on YouTube Live at Tom Douglas & Co. or buy a ticket to join us here in the studio like these lovely folks did at hotstovesocietyshow.com.
Nope, just hotstovesociety.com.
Hotstovesociety.com, like I said. Or you can listen via podcast. Just subscribe with your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. Terry always says thanks for listening.
Oh, I thought you didn't do the rest of the outro.
Oh, I forgot that part. I'm going to do that again.
Okay.
The show is produced by Becky Guzak, our Tom Douglas team, Sean McFadden, and our technical wizard at Cairo is Sean, don't call me Del Torre. Sean, you can put those together if you would. That would be great. Now, any quiet on the set, please? Hoods off. Hands up. Hoods off. Hi, I'm Tom Douglas.
I'm Loretta Douglas.
This afternoon on the Hot Stove Society radio show, we welcome Brody Pearson with Bristol Wave Seafoods as we continue to celebrate National Seafood Month. Our new segment, Shortcut or Scratch. Loretta and I are going to battle it out. Charlie's Produce is here with Alex Chan and Brittany Andrews, and also Chef Theo Martin is here to talk about his new restaurant in Kirkland called Arlena's, sister restaurant to Island Soul.